U.S. Marines showcase amphibious assault capability. From sea to land. Before dawn, somewhere off a contested coastline, a fleet gathers in the dark. Steel hulls slice through open water. Below deck, hundreds of Marines check their gear in silence. Above them, the ocean stretches to a horizon they cannot yet see, but in a matter of hours, they will own it. Amphibious warfare is as old as armies and as new as tomorrow's headlines. From the beaches of Incheon to the shores of Iwo Jima, the United States Marine Corps has built its entire identity around one deceptively simple mission. Project combat power from the sea onto land, anywhere, on short notice, against any resistance. In 2026, that mission hasn't changed, but everything around it has. Today's amphibious assault is not just boots hitting sand. It is a synchronized multi-domain operation involving ships, aircraft, drones, cyber units and Marines, all moving as a single organism toward a single objective. People think amphibious assault is something out of World War II. Landing craft, ramps dropping, Marines running into machine gun fire. That image isn't wrong historically, but what the Marine Corps does today is far more complex. It involves ship-to-shore movement using air, sea, and even subsurface assets, all timed to the minute, all coordinated across multiple platforms operating hundreds of miles apart. This is the modern amphibious assault, and the Marine Corps wants the world to see exactly how it works. It begins with the ships. An amphibious ready group, often called an ARG, is essentially a floating military base. At its center sits a large-deck amphibious assault ship, capable of launching helicopters, tiltrotor aircraft, and even fighter jets. Around it, transport and dock landing ships, each one a piece of a larger puzzle. Below decks, a well deck, the PO. Size of several football fields can flood on command, allowing landing craft and amphibious vehicles to launch directly into open water. It is, in effect, a harbor built inside a warship. When the well deck floods, it is controlled chaos. Water rushes in, craft launch off the stern, Marines stage vehicles, and everyone has only seconds to do their job right, or the whole timeline backs up. Embarked aboard these ships is a Marine Expeditionary Unit, roughly 2,000 Marines and sailors, organized into a ground combat element, an aviation combat element, and a logistics combat element. Together, they form a self-sustained fighting force capable of operating independently for weeks without resupply. Before a single boot touches sand, this force has already rehearsed the operation dozens of times, on paper, in simulators, and on the deck of the ship itself. Hour approaches. Inside the well deck, engines roar to life. Amphibious combat vehicles, the modern successor to the legacy amphibious assault vehicle, line up in formation as crews run final system checks. These 8-wheeled vehicles are designed to swim from ship to shore over significant distances, then transition seamlessly to high-speed travel on land, carrying a full squad of Marines along with their weapons and equipment. The difference between this vehicle and the one Marines used 20 years ago is night and day. Better protection, better speed in the water, better situational awareness inside the troop compartment. Marines can see what's happening outside in real time before they ever hit the beach. Above the water, the assault unfolds on a second axis. Tiltrotor aircraft lift off the flight deck. Rotors transitioning from helicopter mode to forward flight, carrying additional Marines toward landing zones further inland. This is the essence of modern amphibious doctrine, what planners call ship-to-OB, objective maneuver. Rather than landing on the beach and fighting inland step by step, Marines can leap directly to their objective by air, while surface forces secure the coastline simultaneously. The Marine Corps is no longer limited to the beach. If the objective is 15 miles inland, Marines don't need to walk there. They can be placed directly on target by air, while surface assault forces handle the coastline, giving commanders options the Marine Corps simply didn't have a generation ago. None of this happens by instinct alone. Above the waterline and below it, an invisible web of sensors, satellites, and unmanned systems feeds information back to a command center where officers track every vehicle, every aircraft, every Marine in real time. Before the first vehicle ever splashes into the water, planners already have a clear picture of the landing zone, terrain, potential threats, weather conditions. Unmanned aerial systems give commanders eyes over the beach hours, sometimes days, before Marines arrive. It is not guesswork anymore. It is informed risk. Unmanned systems now scout ahead of the main force, identifying obstacles and confirming the landing zone is clear, or flagging it if it isn't. This layer of reconnaissance has become as essential to amphibious doctrine as the landing craft themselves. Offshore, surface combatants stand ready to provide fire support, while aircraft overhead maintain a protective umbrella against any threat that might challenge the assault force's approach. The mission for supporting ships is simple to explain and hard to execute. Make sure nothing interferes with the landing force. Whether that means air defense, surface threats, or fire support if the Marines need it ashore, these ships are the shield around the spear. And then, after months of planning and hours of execution, contact with the shore. Ramps drop. Marines move. What began as an idea in a planning cell hundreds of miles away becomes a physical reality measured in footsteps on sand. The moment the ramp drops is when everything gets real. Marines have trained for it, rehearsed it. But when that ramp goes down and they are moving across open ground, that is when it actually means something. That is the job. The first wave secures the beachhead. Behind them, follow-on forces and equipment continue to flow ashore. Vehicles, supplies, communications gear, building combat power on land, even as the operation continues offshore. Sustaining a force once it is ashore is just as critical as the assault itself. Fuel, ammunition, water, and medical support all have to keep flowing from ship to shore in a continuous cycle, or the whole operation stalls. Within hours, what was empty coastline becomes a functioning forward operating area, proof that the Marine Corps can, in the span of a single morning, move a credible fighting force from international waters onto contested ground. In 2026, the strategic value of amphibious forces has only grown. As tensions persist across multiple regions of the world, naval and military planners increasingly point to forward-deployed amphibious forces as one of the few military capabilities that can respond to a crisis within days, not weeks. An amphibious ready group and its embarked Marine Expeditionary Unit represent something unique in the joint force, sovereign American territory, forward deployed, that doesn't need permission from any other nation to operate. This force can respond to a natural disaster, evacuate American citizens, deter aggression, or conduct a forcible entry operation, all with the same force, often within hours of receiving the order. That flexibility, the ability to pivot from humanitarian assistance to high-end combat without changing platforms, is what makes amphibious capabilities so valuable to military planners. It is not built for a single scenario. It is built for whatever scenario comes next. This versatility is also why the Marine Corps continues to modernize its amphibious fleet, fielding new vehicles, new aircraft, and new digital systems designed to keep this century-old mission relevant against modern threats, from precision-guided weapons to contested electromagnetic environments. The beach hasn't changed. The fundamental challenge of moving from sea to land under potential resistance hasn't changed. What has changed is the threat forces might face getting there. Everything fielded now, vehicles, aircraft, sensors, has to account for an enemy that can see further and shoot further than ever before. For all the technology, all the platforms, all the planning, amphibious assault remains, at its core, a human endeavor. It asks young men and women to leave the relative safety of a ship and move toward an unknown shore, trusting the training, the equipment, and the Marine beside them. That trust is built over months of training together, living together, and rehearsing the same movements again and again until they become instinct. At the end of the day, all the ships and aircraft and vehicles are simply how Marines get there. What happens once they are on the ground comes down to the Marine next to them. Training together so often means that by the time the ramp drops, nobody is thinking about being scared. They are thinking about the job and about the Marine on their left and right. It is this combination, advanced technology paired with disciplined, well-trained people, that has defined Marine Corps amphibious operations for more than a century and continues to define it today in 2026. From the deck of a ship to the line of a beach, the amphibious assault remains one of the most complex and demanding operations in modern warfare. It requires the seamless integration of sea, air, and land power, executed by Marines and sailors who train relentlessly for or a mission they hope they will never have to use in anger, but stand ready to execute the moment the order comes. This is what it means to project power from sea to shore. This is the United States Marine Corps in 2026, still answering the call from the water's edge. Semper Fidelis.